Get Sweaty with Leddy, a wellness program about pain management. We have made our way to Tubac, Arizona in the Sonoran Desert, hence the need for a little cactus charm on the sunglasses. And I am really excited about today's guest. He became a friend about a year ago, and now we're teaming up on wellness endeavors at his beautiful 1930s dude ranch. The ranch is absolutely magical. I'm just gonna leave it at that and let you enjoy the episode. This is a special episode for me here. I just had my birthday at the most wonderful place in Arizona, one of the best in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Ooh.
Is that how you feel though? I mean, this place is pretty special.
That's high praise. That's high praise. It is special. It is special. The energy.
The energy, it is second to none.
Yeah.
But what is about to happen outside is we have a full moonrise in about 10 minutes from now. It's going to be a total lunar eclipse tonight. Yeah. The moon is going to turn blood red for 58 minutes. I think I got that right. So this is going to be a cool episode with how we're going to do this, and you'll see as we get going. But you know I'm out here highlighting people in places of healing on my wellness discovery tour, and this place is about as healing and wellness as it gets. And this is the man responsible for it. Oh. So how do you what drew you, Cal, to this ranch to create what this magical place has become?
That's quite a setup. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's a pretty simple story. And what pulled me here, oddly enough, was not the weather or the desert. It was service, and like most things, sort of ended up backing into it through a variety of other decisions. That started years and years ago, sort of in a path that was set off in one direction, and at some point, with a little bit of introspection, adjusted the course, intentionally moving it another way, and then intuitively just allowing it to unfold. And honestly, last place on the planet I thought it would end up would be in Arizona. My parents and grandparents came here from Italy. Parents moved down here to be closer to my grandparents. Mom passed away few years prior to COVID, that whole thing, and my dad was out here by himself, and I came out to visit just on a whim. The world had sort of shut down, and said I'd stay for a week or two, to flatten the curve or whatever that was. And stayed for a couple weeks and then a couple months, and he had some health issues, so started leaning into that more. And really, after 6-8 months, realized, I'm gonna get out and explore Arizona a little bit more. I had done a bunch with my boys, gone out climbing and camping and things, but really took the opportunity to go back out when the world was shut down and Arizona was largely open. So sort of a couple days on taking care of Dad, and then a couple days out, on my own, vision quest kind of stuff. And the desert is healing. And as I got farther out of Phoenix, in all corners, started to discover just the beauty of Arizona, and knew of this ranch from years previous. A dear friend of mine, Dr. Mark Pirtle, had introduced me to Barbara Finn Dyson, previous owner. Not the original owner, but the previous owner. And she was doing spiritual work and cognitive work, and she was a psychologist, and early birth trauma, healing things. Not running it as a ranch by any means, not running cattle or horses or really doing hospitality, but really doing it as a retreat center. And as a second career almost. She had a successful career, I guess, out on the West Coast as a psychologist, and then was doing these 28-day immersive retreats, which was fascinating in its own right. Somebody had gifted her $1 million to go find a destination that could be a permanent home for her foundation. So she bought the ranch. So my friend Mark knew her. He filmed a movie out here about healing.
Nice.
About healing, actually. About trauma and is your story making you sick? That was his theme. And so he introduced me to her. Said she has this beautiful ranch. It's hundreds of acres. It's really it's a special place, but it's sort of run down, and it needs somebody to sort of steward it back into, into life. And came out and met with her, brought it back to folks I was working with in the boutique hotel world, and the first question was, what's a Tubac? And now it's too far out there, and
Yeah.
nobody wants to be in Phoenix, much less Tucson, much less Tubac. It's too close to the border. The answer is no. And I knew it had a vibe to it, but I couldn't really communicate much more. And I thought, all right, let it die. And it was pretty far gone at that point, really pretty. It was deteriorating, the physical plant. So when I revisited her, it was many years, so this is 8-9 years after that, I came down with a different mindset. And the moment I sort of winded or turned onto the land, I just had a visceral sort of, it was almost like a coming home of sorts. Felt my nervous system sort of shift and dropped, sat with her and talked about what her thoughts were. She was in her 90s at that point. Wanted to sell the ranch, but not to California land developers. And she didn't want to see 209 luxury homes on beautiful, distinctive 3-acre lots overlooking the Tumacochery. She felt like that would be a waste of this land. So she wanted to see it stay in a space of healing and nurturing and energy work. And not being a healer or a coach or a leader or any of those things, the best I could offer was stewardship to the land itself, putting together a faculty that I thought could contribute to building some programming that would honor her legacy, bringing back her foundation as well, which we did for a little while. And then also doing some hospitality experiential programming, sort of that boutique vibey stuff, music and food, and not really realizing at that point how close those things were to what would become the central theme of the ranch, which is the central nervous system, and sort of connecting all things to that. I thought those were sort of disparate worlds. Had a 3-legged stool, essentially. We'll do retreats and healing work, and I'll bring in psychologists and friends and retreats and yoga studios, and we'll do all that. And that'll be in this mindful component. And then we'll do parties and transformative music festivals and all-night dance parties and food and wine stuff. And that'll be over here in this sort of boutique hospitality vibe. And we'll get cool products and do cool things. And then we'll do some local eco-traveler stuff. And as time went on, I had a vision for converting and cultivating and grooming this space into something that I had envisioned as a designer. Clean this up, clean that up, and do this. And as I was here longer, I realized it was actually informing me as it slowed me down. Another well would explode and pipes would burst and roofs would cave in, and we would be resetting stuff, and we'd be sitting out there, and it was sort of a humbling experience, right? Trying to impose something on this otherwise thing. And I didn't realize that was the beginning of kind of a conversation. And so I let up on expectation, and instead, let me sort of dial back. And as I was in service more to the land, I started feeling physically stronger and more energized, and that was sort of starting to close the loop, which then returned me to the narrative of how is this 3-legged stool connected? And again, through the nervous system. When I'm doing that, that feels this way. When these guys are here, this feels good. When people are contributing and feeling, and there's good positive energy rolling, I feel good about their feeling good, and that settles, and calms and soothes. So sort of switched gears and decided, all right, I have to get into coherence, integration. I need to pull these things together under sort of a central theme. And not a moniker that's performative or anything that I could support from clinical studies or my time at Stanford or any of those things that I don't hold.
Yeah.
I haven't written a book. I don't have a podcast. I don't know anybody. I'm just a guy in the world. But I'm an observer and a collector of interesting people and interesting experiences. And I thought, okay, if I just start inviting people who do cool shit and plug them in and let them feel what I'm feeling, if they get it, they'll contribute. I'll open the front door and I'll open the back door. And most people arrive pretty excited. And some people carry the excitement right on out and they run right out the back door, sort of inertia and momentum. But the people that stay tend to root and provide and deliver. You're a great example of, our friendship has grown, and only in the last 12, 14 months. And it's a perfect example of convergence. Two people sort of running parallel, doing similar things. You've got the experiential piece, the programming piece, the mindset of healing, and I happen to have a venue that's open to that, and it's the life's blood. Sort of, I'm the conduit, but you got to fill the bloodstream with something, and so those partnerships are beautiful. They become beautiful, and that really has led to this sort of vision, which overall is connecting things to the nervous system and healing, and whatever that means. Right?
I love it.
Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual, financial, all the things in order to feel present and
Yeah.
I'm rambling.
No, you're not at all. You're hitting the nail on the head. The spleen is a harbinger for wellness. It ignites the fire that can make people feel well, and even if it's unintentional, like you just experienced on your own. You didn't come here with the goal of I'm gonna be well here. Yeah. It just naturally came upon you, and that's what I hope to provide for people in through unique experiences around the country, but specifically here as well. And it's been honored.
Dude, the last 4 days have been fantastic.
It was
fantastic.
So cool.
Yeah, the group dynamic. When you get people primed and you plug them in and then you let them go and they settle. And it's funny, I don't know if you experienced it, but everybody arrives hot, right? You coming in from a city, no matter what the city is, whether it's Minneapolis or Chicago or the UK or wherever you're at. And even if you've had some time in Arizona or you've spent a little time here and there before you come down here, there's still a downshift that happens in that first 24 hours that I think is autonomically or maybe, in terms of genetic programming, I don't think it's something that's necessarily within our control. We can be aware of it, but I think that first 24 hours, without all the stimulus, without all the messaging, without all the LED lights and televisions going off, and you're actually settling back into what I feel is sort of an honest state. I used to think the pace down here was slow.
So I was at this ranch a little over a year ago for the first time, 366 days. Yeah. And I felt...
2 birthdays.
2 birthdays in Tubac, right?
2 birthdays.
Tubac birthdays.
That's Tubac birthdays.
Pretty special.
That's a thing.
But I was one of those types that I didn't have a desire to come to Arizona. Yeah. I'm from Minnesota, obviously. Yeah. Land of 10,000 lakes. I love water. I like oceans. I had no desire to come to the desert. No. My first desert experience was Joshua Tree. Yeah. Pretty incredible. Really opened my eyes to it. Yeah. And then...
That's a good place to start.
It was good. Yeah, it was a good place. And then I had... I'm sorry, I take that back. First experience was Sedona at a wedding. Another real crappy place out there.
It's unfortunate.
And then when Melissa's parents moved to Tucson, kept in touch with a mutual friend, John Peterson, who was down here kicking off sauna stuff.
Yeah, for a year.
And as soon as I stepped foot into this ranch, I knew that this place had a connection. And the desert has been extremely healing for me as I've navigated kind of a transition of identity over the past couple years. And it's really helped, I think, with that whole entire process. I don't have words for it, right? It's just feeling, it's energy, and it allows maybe just this stuck energy to move through because I'm replacing new, inexperienced energy.
I think there's something profound about the desert in general. I think it's always been a place that people go for healing, for answers, for clearing. And, it's the birthplace of civilizations, wherever you're, sort of benchmarking it. But there's something about the spatial relationship you have to the stars and the sun and the moon and the sunsets and sunrise. And desert sunrises and sunsets and moonrises are something otherworldly. It really, you can experience them all over the place, and they're beautiful. They're just different in the desert. And until you're immersed in it, moon bathing and all of those things, you don't really recognize how profound and how grounding it is. along with the removal of all the digital noise and all that, so that you can receive. So you're opening up, that connection, that again central nervous system piece. We're so revved up all the time.
Yeah.
Or at least I was, and I am when I go into the city. I have my armor on, getting through, staying focused, trying to ignore all the noise. Where down here, it's the opposite. You're listening. Those things that are noise are birds and nature and coyotes and those things you want to welcome in.
Yes.
It's almost deathly quiet at night sometimes, and so that's interesting to the resonance between dark and cool nights and quiet is how we're supposed to sleep.
Yeah.
And I was saying before, I came down at twice the speed of what Arizona likes to operate at, thinking, all right, I got to downshift. Like, I'm going to wear everybody. I'm going to wear myself out, and you can't get anything done at this pace anyway, and what's the point? And then I realize Tubac is at half that speed, and I'm still twice as fast, and I need to pull that back, which is a good lesson. And I feel, honestly, that we've sort of struck a balance of kind of what I feel is a 1975 Americana energy, the sort of the idea of community, open door, don't lock your doors, neighbors showing up. We're 20 kilometers from the border, and yet it's one of the safest places in the country. And our community is commingled between Mexico and here. And it's just an interesting dichotomy based on where everybody else is in the world and what we're actually living and experiencing, which is part of the beauty, of it too, which you've met our friends and community members and everybody's just doors open and they're stopping by and they're hanging out. And
it's like everybody has a collective goal here, and that's just to live well.
Yeah.
Live well within yourself, live well within your neighbors, your neighborhood. And it is so welcoming, and it's so energetically appealing.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about it. And one thing I'm really excited about tonight is, we're going to have the full moon here.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like it's bright as day because of this desert sky.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a little full moon journal when it's at its peak. And we've got the eclipse later tonight.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's going to be just wild.
Yeah, I've never experienced moonrises like this where you come out at 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning and the moon is above you, and it's like it's noon.
Yeah.
It's so bright. Everything is black and white, right? Because the moonlight is a different arc of the visual spectrum, and everything is in hard shadow right below you, so there's no long shadows anywhere.
Yep.
And it's freaky.
One of the jokes last night, all of our friends were up on the roof watching the sunset and the moon just rising over the mountains over here, and I was getting everything set up for a little sauna rave and setting up lights, and I said, I'm gonna wait. They asked, are you gonna set the lights? I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait to set the lights. It's still light out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the sun had set like 2 hours ago, and it was just dark. It was night, and everybody's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But I could see a little splinter of light out there. And it was just so bright. So that was a funny joke that even when it's dark, it's almost light here when the sun is present.
Yeah, and we make a conscious...
Or when the moon is present, sorry.
Yeah, and the moon or the sun, but the moon specifically is what's most remarkable, because you don't really think about that, and as you're moving into full moon and out of it, you get those 7-8 days or whatever it is where nighttime just shifts. And we work consciously at not overlighting anything. So most people come, you need to light that. And
I like that. I like that.
And I say, just give yourself a day.
Let your eyes adjust.
Let your eyes adjust and let yourself arrive. You'll know where the pathways are. Trust your instincts. You'll know 5 steps, and then you got to step up to the pool. And ultimately everybody does. And then it feels better. You're moving through space, without everything being illuminated, and somehow that just feels better. It's easier to shut it off at night and go to bed. You're only moving from a 1 to a 0, not a 9 to an 8 to a 7, and having to sort of downshift, in the way you have to in cities. It's that part I find is really healing. Getting rest and sleep in the desert, especially here, 30, 40 degrees drop every night. You get I don't even want to say too much because the weather is perfect.
It just needs to be experienced.
Yeah.
We're about to experience a little Sonoran sunset along with a Sonoran full moon rise. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to return later on with something special. So,
peace.
Cheers for now. are back. We are in the Sonora sauna house during a total lunar eclipse that's about to turn blood red in about 25 minutes because of all of the sunsets happening in the world. And it's reflecting around Earth, and it's going to create a cool red light on the moon. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah, very cool.
I cannot get the phrase. It's a total eclipse of your heart. Stuck in my head right now. Yeah, it's
Every
just
now and then.
literally like every 5 seconds, I'm just running it through my brain. So, how was your evening, your nap, since we've taken a break?
Yeah, right. Fell asleep hard and then woke up to rev up the sauna at 2 a.m. So bright outside. And just 2 hours later, so dark.
yeah.
So red. Yeah, remarkable.
I wish I had like a time lapse of the stars because the stars were nice when the full moon was out there, but now they are just all over the place and they are electric.
Yeah, it changes the entire sky changes.
Yeah, it's wicked. I was fortunate to see a shooting star, like literally right as the eclipse happened. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Bonus. So yeah, we have done a pretty good job covering the place and the why and the purpose. But there's also the component of pain and or healing for your own personal benefit. And I know you've had a little bit of history, especially with the sauna. Yeah. And this place has a glorious sauna. It's been featured last year when I was here on my birthday. And had the idea of bringing the mobile sauna up, but we also activated this space, and it is so wonderful. And just tell us what it means to you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, well, I think that's sort of a new realization that as a baseline, that sauna's sort of been part of my life for maybe the last 10 years. Prior to that, I really had very little exposure or experience beyond being around saunas. Spending teenage years in Europe, so bathhouses and saunas were a thing, but not a central part of necessarily family culture or anything else. So recall going and mineral baths and so forth in Europe, but not really a central piece at that point. And as a young man and with a young family and new businesses and just working hard in Chicago in what would be the early 90s, I guess. Really dealing with, at that point, not even understanding it at the time, but dealing with what I thought was sort of chronic back pain, which kind of crept in. Was so motivated to get things done, my late teens, early 20s, that I was sort of focused on building. And then by the time I was in my early 30s, managing businesses and having a family and kids and resources and employees and assets and all that stuff, just slogging through the day of getting stuff done and thinking, okay, it's the checklist, and as long as I'm doing those things and going to the gym and everything should be fine. But I was so wound up that things were collecting in my joints, especially my back, my neck and things. So sleep was really disrupted, which was the first thing to go, right?
I know what that's all about.
Yeah. And that's where it starts, in the thinning of your REM sleep.
Just chipping away. That baseline is just slowly moving back.
So subtle, and you kind of tell yourself, and you start I became really aware of how good my sleep was or wasn't day by day. And was really hard to predict where I was in that cycle. And that went on for years, 10 years of that. And then chiropractors and physiologists and physical therapy and trainers and plyometrics and stretching and just a variety of things, but all kind of from a more clinical, transactional point of view. Nothing really helped profoundly until sort of made the mind-body connection. All the while working out and doing going for a run or going skiing or snowboarding or whatever it was, lot of climbing, a lot of training for climbing back then. All the while, the baseline was, some type of thermic bathing at the end. So a sauna or a plunge of some kind. But never really thinking about that. Only that was the sort of reward for, go through this and that and then go reward myself with it. Not understanding the mechanics of how that fit into healing and recovery. And it wasn't until I made the mind-body connection, brought the unconscious part up. And what it was essentially unresolved, incongruence between what I was doing and how I was feeling. The programming that I think I was raised under, hardworking European parents. Was
grind.
Yeah, it was, your value is in what you can produce. And there is value in that. And it's a beautiful thing, but it's only one lever. And if you don't sit back to recognize, and if I didn't slow down and realize how to connect it, I was going to end up in this divergent path where, the body was going one way and the mind was going another. Stumbled across Sarno's book, Healing Back Pain or Dealing with Back Pain. I'll attribute this sort of awakening to that book only because it was the first time that I had really considered expressing unconscious thoughts in with words out into the world and letting myself hear it and sort of taking the power out of the unconscious thought, the fears and insecurities and all those things that I was obviously dealing with it, plus unresolved trauma from maybe teen childhood and family stuff from generations and that instilled work ethic, like your value is in your work ethic and your work, not in you as a person or any of those things. So at that point, pushing my creativity back and my vision back in reward for production and the things that came from producing and being able to run a business and so forth. So it was I was split, and I wasn't rewarding all parts of sort of my experience, just the parts that paid the bills. And that were outside manifestations. Oh, you have a beautiful family and you have a beautiful house and you have a great business and all that stuff. So sort of this interesting dichotomy, thriving on the outside and kind of dying on the inside. And that stuff was pooling and finding its home inside, rooting around in my unconscious mind. So Sarno's whole premise that I took from it was express the unconscious. And as soon as I realized there was nothing wrong with my back beyond the trauma associated with dealing with back pain, which is real, that most of it for me was triggered by unconscious, unresolved feelings of angst and fear and insecurity and all that. And as soon as I had expressed that, it sort of took the power away from me and it made it conscious. And now it was something I could deal with. And that opened up a whole pathway, all the while cutting back on my intense exercise, stretching, and opting more for meditation. But the sauna being a competitive, a consistent piece in that. And that just became a loop that started out as a broad loop that felt a little bit better. The meditative, mindful peace and the passive wellness of sort of sauna became the two anchors, and everything else in the middle started to shift until there was sort of connection, and that loop was smaller, and I could sort of hone in on the direct relation between what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling and how I'm doing, sort of in general. And then that's been a 20-year process to refine, and really the last 10 years that I've had control over my environment, working intentionally towards, I need to be congruent between unconscious, I need to connect mind and body and live in that space, whatever that means. And that brought profound life changes, which were difficult and rewarding, That also closed the loop. Do the hard work and get the rewards. And sometimes the reward is a little more hard work, but enjoy the process of it, all the while moving towards something that is difficult and rewarding, and realizing, okay, then some of these basic pillars of health need to be integrated into my life. And started to integrate sauna into the way I worked and putting saunas in things that we were designing. At that point, working in development of hotels and other spaces. So then was blessed with time in Minnesota.
Yes,
you know,
Ewing Hotel.
The Ewing Hotel.
The pinnacle of sauna hotel experiences
so
in Minneapolis.
Great. So great working with a great team of people there, and ultimately being able to activate that rooftop sauna in community relation stuff, and working with our friends at Stokeyard and our friend John Peterson and our dear friend Shaylin.
Yep. What's up, Shaylin? I haven't said hi to you yet.
Yeah, it is Shaylin. The queen bee of sauna. And all of that was just starting to close the loop and really hone in on it. And from that point forward, it's always been a central part of then realizing the community aspect of it, and the fact that you could invite friends to the wellness.
Yeah. Which
in part then took a while, but then converged with the vision of building a place where people could commune, the ranch, and then the ranch and the sauna, and then realizing I'm going to put a sauna in the desert, and which to our Scandinavian friends, you will put a sauna in the desert, and it's very warm in the desert. Yeah, it's warm, but I think it's the right spot,
yeah.
Sauna in the desert's a very good idea. And it turns out for most of the year, especially sunsets, and it's a beautiful place to sauna. The ambient temps of the desert are ideal for that third place. You have a cold plunge, you have the heat, and then you can hang out in the sun or the stars, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I can attest. I was questionable myself, like sauna in the desert.
Yeah. It's very hot there.
Yeah. There's lots of sand.
Yeah.
Get that in the sauna.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good luck for this. Having sauna.
But I have fallen in love with it. And you're right. The temperatures, they swing plenty enough where you can build it in. And what's better than intentionally building something in, right? Having the intention for it might provide a better purpose.
Yeah.
But I settled into sauna very similar, where I liked it. It made me feel good.
Yeah.
There was nobody telling me to do it. There's nobody telling me about benefits. It was just something that I needed to do at the end of a workout. It was that motivation.
Yeah.
And then it became going to work out just because I wanted a sauna.
Yeah.
It might even be just like a 10-minute, 15-minute thing.
That's
and
fun.
then I adopted the executive workout, where I was just going to the gym to sauna. Coming in, you gonna get a workout? Oh, yep. I'll see you down here.
Can I avoid the gym and just go right to the sauna? Is there a back door?
Yeah. So that was wonderful. And then it became that communal thing for me. And I still enjoy going to get a beer with somebody.
Yeah.
But there's something greater about the intentional space of the sauna and the conversation that you can have.
Yeah.
It's so much more real, so much more authentic.
Yeah.
And we're each participant is better off for it.
You can invite people to the party. And I think it's the new executive golf course. Take people, anybody can do it. There's a little bit of intimidation from most people. Either it's too hot or the cold is intimidating, but you can lean into it, and it's already sort of self-organized to be cooler spots and hotter spots, and we inform everybody, hydrate, and it's going to get hot when we throw water on the rocks and so forth, and maybe just splash a little cold water on your face. You don't have to get in the cold plunge, but everybody can benefit from it. And so it's beautiful to be able to bring 6, 8, 10, 20, 30 people into the sauna house and be able to watch that 1, 2, 3 hour, event unfold in its own way. And this building specifically is special. It was the last thing on the ranch that we sort of uncovered. Couldn't even get to it. The roof had collapsed. It had burned down in the 50s. It's an old 4-bedroom stone casita. And it just immediately spoke to me as a bathhouse.
Yeah.
There was no other. The roof had been torn off. There was sort of beams remaining. And it took a while, a year or two, to figure out where we were going to embed the sauna inside the space. But it just sort of naturally presented itself. And now I can't see this place as anything other than a bathhouse.
I totally agree.
It was made for that.
Well, it's like a piece of art. its own space. The way that you have the uplights shining on the structure, and when you walk in, you're right. You've got you got plants, you got beams, whole open roof. I can literally see this total lunar eclipse through the wonderful picturesque window right here.
You can watch the sunset and the moonrise, and special thanks to our friend Sam Saunders for helping build out the space and putting these beautiful mission doors and doing all this great stonework in the front to kind of create, what feels to us like a sauna temple.
Yeah.
And we bring our friends in for gong ceremonies and sound healing at the same time we're sounding, and it just resonates in this little space. And so it's a special little place inside of a special place, and I can't think of a better sort of nucleus to it than this little room right here. It's sort of the middle of the ranch, and it's really the heart of everything that's happening.
Yeah, I was just going to say
which I never would have thought of looking into it 5 years, ago or whatever, to say, oh yeah, the entire ranch would be built around sort of a sauna experience. But it kind of is bolted on. There's beautiful things happening in all the corners of it, but this is kind of the crown jewel. It's the most surprising thing that people come in. Finding a sauna in the desert is a little odd, but it also makes the most sense. And to me, it sort of represents the eclectic mashup of good design and function in a place that is sort of welcoming that, and it's sort of self-designed, and the fact that it's communal is awesome, and you can get a ton of people here. So
well, and you mentioned that the desert is just this place to slow down. It's a slower pace, and I feel like the sauna is that additional cog to allow you to really tap into that slow pace. Life, when you come here and you arrive, you get to your casita, you see the grounds, and then you come in the sauna, you sit and you just be. There's nothing more than that.
Passive. That's beautiful. We've noticed that with friends we've helped consulted on building saunas and getting them connected with different providers and building saunas into existing spaces that everybody's using it in a similar way. There's an intimidation factor. If you don't know anything about thermic bathing and sort of sauna traditions and bathhouses and any of that, then it feels like that room, that space, that's always that at the back of the gym or in the back of the hotel or whatever, that's sort of, it's dark and you're not sure what's going on in there. And once you realize, no, it's actually the opposite. It's actually the centerpiece of a wellness, space and a great place to commune and hang out with people. In addition to having a beer and going out and doing the other things, it's just a great way to hang out and get business done and entertain folks. And I come in here and just turn it on, get it revved up slightly in the winter when it's cool, and I'll sit down and read a book in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant.
Just on a sort of moderate, is that even when it's raining, we have rain or shine. And since there's no roof on the outsides, when it's raining or torrential or monsoons, it's even more beautiful.
I can't even imagine what that would be like when you walk out and it's just monsoon.
Yeah. And you're steaming and it's, come on.
Wow.
Come on, it can't get any better. Yeah.
Wow. Well, what do you say we go out there and take a peek of this?
Let's do it.
This lunar eclipse.
Are we close?
In peak mode.
Let's go, man.
Peak.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, that was something.
Yeah.
Not literally not every day that you can go out and do something like that.
No. What? Full nights, a shoal of night stars, and this red moon.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was something else. We usually end the episodes with a cold plunge, but on the opportunity to embrace a lunar eclipse on a chilly desert night, we're going to take that because it's too dark anyways. You can't see the cold plunge.
We'll swap it for red moon bathing.
Yes. Trust me, it's out there though.
Yeah, it is out there. And it is cold.
And it is cold. It's
cold.
wonderful.
Yeah.
It's actually a Soft Tub, which is a company in Minnesota. Shout out to Minnesota Soft Tub.
Shout out to Soft Tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been working great. We have our little clawfoot tubs for ice plunges, but what we found is honestly the range between cold and hot at this point, that thing works perfect.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's not intimidating for someone that might be a little intimidated from the cold plunge.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's on the higher end. So it's glorious.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And what else is glorious is this time that we've spent in the sauna here. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to sit and chat with you, talk a little about this magical place, just kind of set the stage for the amazing things that we're gonna to bring out here.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you, man, and thanks for the collaboration and for another great stellar event and bringing all your friends and down and for the collaborations to come, which we're super excited about.
Yeah,
it's just great. I hope you feel that it's home away from home for you and all of your viewers and all friends and family. Spread the word and come down with an open heart and open mind and enjoy it.
I do feel that this is my home away from home, and I can't wait to be back already. It's sad that it's my final day, but
you're actually going home. No,
I know. But there's still got a few hours left of this beautiful space, so I'm gonna go out there and enjoy it while I can.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is, stay tuned for some amazing opportunities to be well in the Sonoran Desert at the Tubac Ranch. So
beautiful. Hope to see everybody soon.
All right. In the meantime, stay sweaty out there, everybody.
Yeah. Sweet.